Hey guys, it's Robbie here, and this is FrekiFitWolf. It's time for another meme of the week. Alright, so this week's meme is another one that I created mainly to get a message across that I wanted to get across. Something that dawned on me, something that I came to realize, and I felt like it was worth sharing with you all. Basically, well, let's go ahead and pop it up. So, I'm being selfish, and that's okay. A lot of the times when people are overweight, we have a lot of underlying issues, and a lot of the times it is where we put others first. We tend to be the caretakers, the ones that care about others. I know me personally, I tend to think that way. I do not like accepting help from others. I don't honestly, often enough, put myself first. I put others before me. I've had several conversations with friends lately, and that's something that I've come to realize. And that is just a habit and a personality trait that, while it's coming from a good place, it's not necessarily the best thing for us. This ends up happening, especially say with, weight loss and with us not losing weight or gaining weight to begin with, because there'll be things like, say, in times when I have tried to lose weight, I want to, watch what I eat, or I'm trying to date. And a lot of times, it's that awkward conversation where I have to be like, they want to take me out to dinner. It's like, okay, cool. But, I am working on losing weight. And while I can go anywhere, I do like my habits and I do like my patterns. So I would prefer either to be on a Sunday where I do have more points to play with, or we pick something a little bit healthier so that I can have more options. And that's something that I do. But a lot of times it's like, oh, okay, yeah. And then I'll just forget about my diet. I'll forget about my lifestyle. I'll cancel going to the gym today because I want to spend time with you, or you need help. I want to, go help you with that. And of course, there are major circumstances where, yeah, that might take precedent. But for the average day-to-day, maybe not. I know a lot of my customers and friends, and a lot of you guys are parents. And, we do what we can for the children, and then we kind of put ourselves on the back burner. I know several of my customers run into the issue, especially on the weekends, where their kids, especially if they've got several, they're going from basketball game to baseball game to football. I don't know if they're all in the same time, but they're constantly going from one sporting event to another, or one after school activity, or whatever after another. And so they end up stopping at McDonald's or stopping at Burger King or whatever, and not actually eating what they would want to be eating to take care of themselves, because they're putting their kids first, which I totally get, but that is just an example of the trait. I have been guilty of that with friends. I don't have any kids yet, if I ever get lucky enough to have kids, but I have experienced that with other, people in my life, with family members, with friends, especially a lot of times when it's a friend that I don't get to see that often. You want to do something? Yes, let's do it. Whatever it is, I don't care, as long as I get to see you. And then I put myself on the back burner and my goals on the back burner. I am not doing that anymore, or at least not nearly as often. I'm not going to pretend like it never happens, but not nearly as often. And that is something that is important. I was listening to the Weight Loss Podcast. If you haven't looked it up, it's literally called the Weight Loss Podcast on any, I listen on Spotify. But I was listening to them, and in one of the episodes, they did a little thing where name 5 people in your life that you put before everything else. The 5 most important people in your life. So I played along in my head. I was like, da 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 da. And then they asked, did you name yourself? I didn't. I'm not even going to lie. I did not put myself on that list of people that mean the most to me. Granted, it's kind of worded a little trick question-y, but that was an eye-opener that, yeah, I do love myself. I do feel like I am important enough to be on that list of the 5 most important people in my life. And that's something that you guys should take a moment and think about. Would you have put yourself on that list? And if not, that's when we've got to rearrange some things and rearrange our priorities, and it's time to be a little bit selfish. It's time to, hey, look, yes, I want to hang out with you, but these are my personal goals. These are what I'm working on, so we're going to fit that in there. Taking the kids to all these different things. That's a little bit more, you have to plan ahead a little bit better. But it can be done if you take the time to do so. And so it can end up being seen as selfish. I know I have experienced that where, people are like, well, can't you just, no, I'm sorry, but I love myself. I love you, but I have to take care of myself. I am, right now, my number one priority. And it's a little weird to say that. I'm sure. I know it is for me. It feels a little bit awkward saying I'm my number one priority. But sometimes being selfish isn't a bad thing, because that is where we actually get ahead in life. I have done this so many times, especially in the past financially when I was younger with friends. I didn't have the money to pay my own bills, but I was helping other friends and being there for other people. And I love being that person. But eventually, luckily on that aspect, reality kicked in where I'm like, look, I'm not financially able to do that, so I can't, so I don't, so I can better take care of my own self. And that was more extreme as far as I literally can't do that because I didn't have it to help, but it needs to be that way about everything. Is that making sense? Where we need to put ourselves first. Yes, we are allowed to love other people. Yes, we are allowed to have people that are important. But the number one person in our lives should be ourselves. Everything else should fall into place after that. The things that I want to do with friends or hang out with them or see them or whatever, it should fall into place around my goals. I guarantee if I was a couple, if I was dating somebody, so let's use my roommate for an example, just as a body. I'm not using a specific thing that ever happened, but he makes time for his boyfriend. He makes time for that before planning everything else. We need to kind of date ourselves. We kind of need to put ourselves on that pedestal and be like, hey, look, this is what I want to do. Like today, after this video, I'm going to the gym. I very easily could, if a friend wanted to meet online and play a video game, or if a friend wanted to do, hang out, or honestly go out to dinner, because I have plenty of points right now, I could choose to go and do that and cancel the gym or put off the gym, but I am also going to choose to take care of myself and do what I know I need to do. And it can be seen as selfish. I have literally recently, kind of cruddy of the person, but been accused of being selfish because I didn't want to take the time to hang out with them instead of the gym. I was still willing to make time later. I'm not saying I'm blowing off and not having a social life ever because of my diet and my exercise, but I'm not willing to budge or sacrifice for those things. And eventually we end up hanging out and they got over themselves. But it can very well be seen as being selfish, and honestly, that's okay. I think nothing is wrong with being a little bit selfish. I have several friends in my life that I describe as selfish, and not as an insult. Their brain just naturally thinks of themselves and their goals first, which for me is mind-boggling. Almost everything I do, I process how it will affect somebody else, how, this person is involved, whatever. And it's amazing, I think, to be able to actually think of myself first, even making plans. I'm like, oh, I really want to do this, but I'm like, but such and such. I've literally held off on doing things that I wanted to do because somebody might have been wanting to hang out that day. Weird personality flaw, but I'm working on it. And this journey, this weight loss journey, is helping me work on it. So I think that is something that we all need to process a little bit and accept that we're selfish by doing this. But that is a good thing. I was watching No Excuses in TB and weight loss, And the way she worded it, she like it was like kind of a background thing, but I loved it. I fall in love with this phrasing. But she was making plans with her husband actually to do a specific activity, and he was like, "Oh yeah, so that we can, spend quality time together." And she was like, "So we can spend quality time on ourselves or with our health." Now, dang it, I fell in love with this phrasing, and I cannot remember how it is. I'd have to go back and look, and I'm not doing that right this second. I'll look after this, and I'll pop it on the screen. But spending quality time with ourselves was an amazing way to look at exercise and taking care of our bodies. So yeah. So in short, I'm closing this with, make yourself a priority, because it's okay to be selfish. So keep that with you, and I'll talk to you guys later.